reflection as countries around the globe remember those killed in traffic-related crashes. This is the second time Nebraska's commemorated a World Day of Remembrance for traffic victims.
Producer Roger Hamer is sharing some chilling numbers of those lost and reminders on what we can all do to keep us safe when we get behind the wheel.
It is our shared responsibility to be better drivers, to pay more attention.
221 lives lost on Nebraska roadways in 2024. 221 candles commemorate each one. Their faces show the human cost, unreached potential, unfulfilled dreams. Experts with the National Safety Council tell us traffic crashes are the leading cause of preventable deaths in Nebraska. In 2023, Omaha's City Council approved the Vision Zero plan, a time when there are no traffic deaths in the city. Mayor Gene Stothert says we have a long way to go.
Traffic deaths and serious crash injuries have increased at an alarming rate. This year in Omaha, the loss is great. More than 3 times the number of homicides are traffic deaths in the city of Omaha.
That's 41 candles. Mayor Stothert says that number
is unacceptable. And some of them, when you review what happened, it's just horrible. Things happening at 2 and 3 in the morning, traffic speeds up to 170 miles per hour, people that are intoxicated at 2 in the morning with children in their car. We had one with an 11-day-old baby. I mean, these are just unacceptable. So this is something that's very important and a priority to me.
Mayor Stothert says there are already some safety improvements in place, with others on the way.
Roundabouts, for example, are one thing that I really do support, and so does our Public Works Department.
She says these traffic calming devices reduce 2 main causes of roadway crashes:
red light running and speeding. And that's exactly what roundabouts, accomplish.
The mayor says new roads projects across the city include enhanced safety requirements for vehicles and pedestrians. Omaha police are also doing their part to keep our streets safe.
We have selective enforcement units that go out. We run operations. I mean, we have grants that are going all the time. Click it ticket grants. You drink, you drive, you lose grants. We, as a department, our selective units running operations this entire month. We're doing kind of a joint ones with NSP and Douglas County and trying to make sure people understand that we're out there and we're doing our jobs. And if you are violating the law, you're gonna get a ticket for it.
But it's ultimately up to us, the driver, to reduce the number of deaths and pain and suffering on our roadways. We can start by obeying traffic laws, being aware and putting the cell phone down when we're behind the wheel, and finally extinguishing these candles. On your side, Roger Hamer, WOWT 6 News.
Roger, thanks for that report tonight. Meanwhile, Mayor Stothert says federal funding is available for studying high injury corridors, including here locally, Ames Avenue from Florence Avenue to 72nd Street, Cummings Street, Northwest Radial Highway, and Military Avenue between 27th and 72nd Street, the inner city core from the Missouri River to Saddle Creek from Cumming to Leavenworth, and West Maple Road from Interstate 680 to Waterloo.